The long-simmering conflict between Israel and Iran finally boiled over in the tense days of June 2025. For years, the two nations had been locked in a shadow war, a quiet struggle fought with spies and cyber attacks. But this changed dramatically after a critical report from the International Atomic Energy Agency. The report on June 12, 2025, stated that Iran was not following its nuclear agreements. This declaration set off a chain of events that could no longer be contained by diplomacy. Iran, feeling cornered, responded by announcing plans to build a new uranium enrichment facility, a move that Israel saw as a direct threat to its existence. The world watched with bated breath as the situation grew more dangerous. The final hope for a peaceful solution rested on a new round of talks scheduled in Oman for June 15, 2025. However, these talks would never happen. U.S. intelligence agencies had already detected significant Israeli military preparations. They warned that a strike was imminent, possibly on the very day the diplomats were supposed to meet. The window of opportunity for Israel was closing. Iran was working to repair its S-300 air defense systems, which had been damaged in an earlier Israeli attack in late 2024. For Israeli military planners, the time to act was now or never. The stage was set for a major military confrontation, one that would showcase the most advanced warfare technology ever seen in the region. This new war was not fought with large armies of soldiers on the ground. Instead, it was a conflict defined by advanced technology. It was a war of sophisticated missiles, stealth fighter jets, and powerful computer codes. Both sides had spent years building up their arsenals for this very moment. Israel aimed to use its technological edge to deliver a crippling blow to Iran's most sensitive programs. Iran, in turn, planned to overwhelm Israel with a massive number of missiles and drones. The conflict would be a stark test of modern military power, a glimpse into the future of how nations might fight each other in the 21st century. The trigger for the first strikes was the perceived failure of international pressure to stop Iran's nuclear ambitions. Israel's leaders decided they could no longer wait for other countries to act. They believed that a nuclear-armed Iran was an unacceptable risk. On the morning of June 15, 2025, as the world awaited news from the diplomatic talks in Oman, the skies over Iran were instead filled with the roar of Israeli jets and the impact of ballistic missiles. The high-tech war had begun, moving from quiet threats to loud and destructive reality. The long-standing tensions had finally erupted into open conflict, changing the Middle East forever. Israel's attack on Iran was a carefully planned and highly coordinated operation. It used a powerful mix of weapons and technology to hit its targets with great precision. The first wave included long-range ballistic missiles from the Jericho series. These powerful weapons were launched from deep within Israel and traveled hundreds of miles to strike Iran's most protected sites. Their main target was the Natanz nuclear facility, which was buried deep underground to protect it from attack. The Jericho missiles were designed to penetrate these hardened defenses, delivering a devastating blow to the heart of Iran's nuclear program. This was the opening move in a complex and multi-layered assault. Following the missile strikes, Israel's most advanced fighter jets, the F-35 Nadir, entered Iranian airspace. These are stealth aircraft, meaning they are very difficult for enemy radar to detect. The F-35s flew deep into Iran, targeting military bases, missile launch sites, and important command centers. To help them stay hidden, Israeli forces used advanced electronic warfare systems. These systems jammed Iranian radar and communication networks, creating confusion and making it hard for Iran's military to see the attacking jets. This combination of stealth and electronic disruption allowed the Israeli Air Force to operate with a significant advantage, hitting targets with remarkable accuracy. The physical attacks were supported by a hidden war fought in cyberspace. Before the first missile was even launched, Israeli cyber units were reportedly working to disable parts of Iran's infrastructure. These cyber attacks targeted Iran's air defense systems, aiming to create blind spots that the F-35 jets could fly through safely. They also disrupted communication lines between Iranian military commanders, making it difficult for them to organize a defense. This digital assault was just as important as the bombs and missiles. It showed how modern warfare now happens on multiple fronts at the same time, both in the real world and in the digital one. This offensive was guided by a constant flow of information. Israel used its network of satellites to get detailed images of the targets. It also relied on intelligence gathered by spies on the ground and through electronic eavesdropping. Every part of the operation, from the missile launches to the fighter jet sorties, was based on precise and up-to-the-minute information. This allowed Israel to strike with maximum effect while minimizing the risk to its own pilots and aircraft. The attack was a clear demonstration of Israel's technological superiority, a symphony of steel and silicon designed to dismantle Iran's military and nuclear capabilities piece by piece. Iran did not wait long to strike back. Within hours of the Israeli attack, Iran launched a massive retaliatory barrage against Israel. The response was designed to show that Iran could inflict pain and cause damage, even if it could not stop the initial assault. The Iranian military fired a large number of its own ballistic missiles, including the Shahab and Sejil series. These missiles were aimed at major cities and military bases across Israel. At the same time, Iran launched swarms of kamikaze drones, which are small, unmanned aircraft packed with explosives. Cruise missiles, which fly low to avoid radar, were also reportedly part of the attack wave. However, Israel was prepared for this retaliation. The country is protected by one of the most advanced air defense systems in the world. This system has multiple layers, like a series of shields, each designed to stop a different kind of threat. For short-range threats like rockets and drones, Israel uses the famous Iron Dome system. For medium-range missiles, it relies on a system called David's Sling. And for long-range ballistic missiles, the kind that travel high into the atmosphere, Israel uses its Arrow 3 system. As Iran's missiles and drones flew toward their targets, these defensive systems sprang into action, launching interceptor missiles to destroy the incoming threats in mid-air. The sky over Israel became a battlefield. The air defense systems worked with incredible effectiveness, and television screens around the world showed streaks of light as interceptors shot down the incoming rockets and missiles. Reports indicated that the vast majority of the Iranian projectiles were successfully destroyed before they could reach their targets. This successful defense was a major victory for Israel. It proved that its multi-layered shield could handle a large-scale attack. It also showed the limits of Iran's offensive power when faced with a technologically superior opponent. The defense system saved countless lives and prevented widespread destruction. Despite the high success rate of the defenses, they were not perfect. A small number of Iranian missiles and drones managed to get through the shield. These strikes caused damage to residential buildings in some Israeli cities and also hit a few military installations. There were reports of casualties, and the attacks created fear and anxiety among the Israeli people. Sirens wailed across the country, forcing families into bomb shelters. While Israel's military had won the technological battle, the psychological impact on its citizens was significant. The conflict brought the reality of war directly into their homes, reminding everyone of the high price of the ongoing conflict. The damage in Iran was severe and strategic. Israel's precision strikes achieved their primary goal, crippling Iran's nuclear program. The Natanz enrichment facility, a symbol of Iran's nuclear ambitions, suffered extensive destruction. Reports from intelligence agencies suggested that its underground centrifuge halls were destroyed, a setback that could take Iran many years and billions of dollars to overcome. Other nuclear research sites were also hit hard. Beyond the nuclear program, Iran's conventional military power was also significantly weakened. Missile bases, weapons storage depots, and command and control centers were left in ruins, reducing Iran's ability to threaten its neighbors. The conflict also had a human cost for Iran's leadership. There were credible but unconfirmed reports that several high-ranking commanders in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps were killed in the strikes. This included speculation about the potential death of the head of the elite Quds force. Losing key military leaders in the middle of a conflict would create chaos and confusion within Iran's command structure. This would make it even harder for Iran to organize a coherent response or to manage its network of proxy forces across the Middle East. The loss of both infrastructure and leadership left Iran in a severely weakened position. The war has reshaped the balance of power in the region. Israel clearly demonstrated its overwhelming technological and military superiority. By successfully penetrating Iranian airspace, destroying hardened targets, and defending against a massive retaliatory strike, Israel reinforced its position as the dominant military force in the Middle East. This show of strength sends a powerful message to its adversaries. On the other hand, Iran's reputation has been damaged. Its inability to protect its most valuable assets or to inflict significant damage on Israel exposed the limitations of its military capabilities. The country now faces a long and difficult period of rebuilding. Looking ahead, the region remains on a knife's edge. The conflict has raised fears of a wider war, as Iranian proxies like Hezbollah in Lebanon or Hamas in Gaza could be ordered to open new fronts against Israel. The United States, while not participating directly in the strikes, has moved military assets to the region to prevent further escalation. The conflict also caused a sharp rise in global oil prices, affecting economies around the world. The long-term consequences are still uncertain. Iran may choose to double down on its nuclear ambitions in secret, or it may be forced back to the negotiating table from a position of weakness. The high-tech war of June 2025 is over, but the struggle for the future of the Middle East has just entered a new, more dangerous chapter.